Hello everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So, pretty much done the stones under the fountain. There's a tiny bit at the bottom of this diagonal, but not much left. We're well into that bunches of flowers, the orange and the white ones. Yeah, and we're past 95%, so yeah, I am excited with the progress we're making here. Yeah, got the house to myself today. My husband had to go to the transmitter site today, and son loves going with him, so that's where they are this morning. Hopefully they will not get stuck in snow. That happened one time. The truck got stuck, and when they got out to walk out to go get some help digging it out, my son almost lost his boots in the snowdrift. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah, because they're on the transmitter's on some farm acreage that so they lease out the land, and the part of the agreement is that the owners of the land are supposed to keep the road to their clear, but they don't always do that. So yeah, because I mean it's quite a, it's like a couple of kilometers, and it needs to be cleared by an actual like backhoe. So yeah, it's a bit of a job, and so I guess people were hoping they weren't going out there then. But yeah, their agreement is that it's supposed to be kept clear at all times. So yeah, so we have about a foot of snow on the ground, but thankfully it is not snowing currently, and it isn't supposed to really for the next week or so, so that's nice. Yeah, I saw a comedian said, whoever said do it right the first time and you won't have to do it again never had to worry about keeping a driveway clear in Canada. Okay, just gonna look through my colors here and decide what I'm gonna do next. Okay, so yeah, you can see this is another confetti heavy area. We've got lots of threads, and we're going to be adding new ones all over the place, but that is okay. It certainly won't be boring. Oh, goodness, there we go. So it's taking me a little longer than 3 days to do a percent now. It's more like 5 or 6, so we'll see. I've got about 5% left, so so I'd say another month at least. But that means I'll still be done before the end of the year, so. Okay, I think this one is too short to carry up. Yeah, I'll have to start a new little piece for the ones up here. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do that one first. So just going to check the length of both of these. Okay, that's a good length. I think this one here looks like yeah, just a shorter one. There's another one down lower. Hang on a minute. Let me just see. Yeah, that's a pretty decent length too. Okay, so that actually changes where I'm going to park stuff. So I did this one and I'm parking it right there. Okay. Pardon me. So that way, yeah, add a new one there. Yeah, we'll have to go out in the snow today to get some more milk and bread. I've been putting it off. Oh, also because if I can help it, I wait till my husband clears the driveway. Easier for me, and also he prefers if I wait because that way, if nobody's driven on the snow and it's not packed down, it's a lot easier to remove. So even with the snow blower, so yeah. So if I can help it, yeah. I try not to go packing the snow down before he has a chance to remove it. Yeah, the first few years we lived out here, we didn't, he did it by hand, but yeah, after like 7 or 8 years, finally broke down and bought a snowblower. Of course, the year that he bought it, then we ended up with a pretty mild winter and it didn't snow very much, because of course, right? So I kind of joked, yeah, you guys can all thank him. Yeah, it's been a really good little machine. I mean, it's almost as old as our son and still running, and it was, you know, not a top of the line one. It was a fairly cheap one. Because, yeah, at that time we did not have a lot of wiggle room in the budget, so. But yeah, again, it's one of those things that physically shoveling snow is hard on your body, right? So better to get a machine to do it if you can. Okay, let me see what I'm gonna do. Okay. Yeah, this one is worth carrying back up, so that means I'm gonna have to fill in this stuff to the left of it so that I don't close it in, as per my usual method. Yeah, so I caved and I started watching Christmas movies. There's just so many of them now. They make like 80 of them a year, you know, so. And I'm such a sucker. I even keep a spreadsheet with like, so that I know what I've watched and what I haven't, and yeah. Yeah, my sister said she's actually been an extra on a few of those. Apparently, they pay you quite well on those movies, so I guess they're a big enough moneymaker. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, and some of them get filmed in BC, and I sometimes recognize some of the the areas. So usually I'll get and think that looks familiar, and then when I look up where it was filmed, it's like, oh yeah, that's because I used to live around there. Yeah, my in-laws used to live up in Hope, BC, up in the mountains, and there was a lot of stuff filmed there. It was one of the revenue sources for the town. Yeah, and I remember their church actually was used in the filming, and it didn't have stained glass windows, so the movie people actually put some stickers on the existing windows to make it look like stained glass, and then they just kept it after that because it looked pretty, you know. So yeah, kind of a bonus there. Yeah, so they said Rambo was filmed there, so they call it the Rambo Bridge because that was in the movie. And there was Iron Will, which was filmed in the 90s, I think, which was based on a true story of some sled dogs in a race, and there was a little train track built up there with a little replica train that they used just for the movie. Just, you know, like half a kilometer long. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's funny seeing my sister was an extra and that she was working on one where she was in a hospital scene and they said to take a name tag and just write a name on it. She's like, well, I guess I'll just write my own name on it. You know, they didn't say I couldn't. So, yeah. Yeah, kind of putting off going to the store this morning too because it's we have an extreme cold warning, but it's supposed to dissipate by later in the morning. So yeah, I figured I'm gonna stay in where it's nice and warm and stitch, and then after that, maybe then I'll go out and get the milk and bread. Yeah, gotta make sure I remember to unplug the car. We have block heaters up here to battery blanket and block heater to keep things warm so that it will start, because otherwise, yeah, when it's too cold, it won't. I actually had a few times where I had an appointment somewhere and then we had a cold snap and they actually called me and said, yeah, sorry, we're going to have to reschedule because we can't even get to the office because the cars won't start. So yeah, pre-pandemic, I would have to drive into work, get an extension cord there, plug it in, and then to keep things going until I was heading home, even though I only worked part-time, so I was only there for like 3.5 hours. But even that amount of time, if it's cold enough, would be enough to freeze it cold enough that it won't start again. And that's why out here too, you'll see people, if they have a diesel truck, they just have to leave it running like all the time, because you turn it off and you probably won't get it started again, because they're even more temperamental when it comes to the cold. Okay, so park that there. Pardon me. Yeah, this is definitely not a boring part. Oh, look at that. We're getting close to being done. Only 19 stitches of this but they're spread across a few diagonals, so it's going to take me. Won't be zeroing anything out today, at least not with this color, unfortunately. That would have been nice, but nope. Well, once I get into the pillar area, we're going to be starting to zero lots of stuff. So getting close to the end there, will be about, I think, like 97, 98% done. So yeah. Unthreaded my needle. I hate when I do that. Okay, so there's another stitch up over here, but I think I'm going to do a different thread for that one. In fact, I might even have a short little piece that's only good enough for one stitch to use there. Yeah, so our guinea pig gave us a bit of a scare yesterday. She suddenly just stopped eating, and yeah, she just did not seem well. But this morning came out and gave her some fresh veg, and she was chowing down like normal and happily purring when I petted her. So yeah, she had us worried there for a bit. I mean, she's already lived much longer than we expected her to, but still, I'll be very sad when she's gone. Because yeah, often once they stop eating, they often don't live for much longer after that. But she seems to have rebounded, so I don't know what it was, but yeah, she's feeling better today, so. I don't know, maybe I took her out of her cage for a nice long cuddle, just in case it was her last day. But yeah, no, she's got to be 8. We don't know exactly how old she is because she was a rescue, but we've had her for 7 years, and we think she was about a year when we got her. So yeah, and usually they live about 4 to 6 years, so she's lived a lot longer than we expected her to. But I mean, you're never really ready to lose a pet, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter how long you get them for, it's never long enough, right? Yeah, I shared a picture somebody had of this adorable little pet rat that had a tiny little teddy bear. And I said, oh my gosh, like, look at it. It's so cute. And one of my friends says, yeah, I kind of would want one, except they only live 1 to 3 years. And I don't think I could take having my heart broken that often, you know? So. Yeah, I said she's a rescue. Somebody just abandoned her in a box in a parking lot near the pet store. That's how we ended up getting her, because my sister-in-law worked at that pet store, so they caught her and brought her in there saying, you know, like, is this one of yours? But they only sold boy guinea pigs. She's a girl, so it wasn't theirs. Yeah, and the poor thing, she was very thin. You could feel all her ribs when you petted her. But yeah, we spoiled her, and she's fattened up a lot. She used to be, when you gave her, she ate everything you put in front of her. But yeah, after she'd been with us a while, she started getting picky, so she got spoiled. That was when she realized she wasn't going to go hungry with us. Yeah, it's funny because I got cilantro in my meal kit once, and I have the gene that makes it taste like soap, so I don't use it. And I thought, oh, I'll give it to the piggy, because she'll eat parsley. Not a lot of it, but she will eat some of it. And she sniffed it, and she scrambled backwards like I put a bomb in her face. Oh, I said, oh, she wouldn't eat it either, so yeah. She wouldn't eat basil. So it's funny, like, the stuff that I won't eat, she wouldn't eat either. Although she does like kale, and I'm not a big fan of it. Like, I'll eat it, but it's not something I would, if somebody serves it to me, I'll eat it, but it's not something I would go out of my way to eat. Yeah. And she won't eat the stem. She'll only eat the leafy bits. The stem, she'll pick it completely clean. And then, yeah, just leave the center spine part of it. We joke that that's the bones. She doesn't eat the bones. She'll do similar with romaine lettuce. She'll eat all the leafy bits and leave the center part. Although, if you leave it in her cage long enough, she'll generally eat it. But it's not her favorite part, so she'll sort of only eat it when the rest of the good stuff is gone. So I only got 2 left of this color. But again, it's a few diagonals away, so we will not be zeroing that out today either. Yeah, she'll eat some parsley, some spinach, but only for like one day. If you try to give her some the next day, she won't touch it. Like I said, she got picky, so. Or it was funny, she won't eat orange in front of me. I gave her a wedge of it, and she kind of sniffed it and wasn't really that interested, and I thought, okay, well, whatever. So I left the piece in her cage, and when I looked back in, a couple hours later, she picked it completely clean from the rind. There wasn't a single little bit of the orange pulp left. So, yeah, she did like it. She just didn't want me to see her eating it. Yeah, guinea pigs, you need to make sure they get enough vitamin C. Like us, they can't synthesize it, so they need to ingest it. So. Yeah, like when I had to take her to the vet when she was her fur was thinning, that was one of the first things they asked me is you do give vitamin C supplementation, right? Because that could be an issue. But yeah, no, it turned out it was a hormonal thing. Okay, let's see. All right, so there's that one. Okay, that one I can carry downwards. Okay, so I was just deciding what to do based on what I've got already parked. Good place to use up a shorter piece. Yeah, it turned out that she had ovarian cysts, which apparently can be a problem for the unspayed female piggies when they get older. But yeah, she had some hormone shots, and then she was fine because she was her fur was thinning, and she usually has such a nice thick glossy coat, and yeah, it was thinning out. And then yeah, they gave her a couple little hormone injections 2 weeks apart, and she grew her fur all back. Had to do that twice. A few months later she had it again, but then again she bounced back. So yeah, she's a determined old thing. Okay, be careful as I've got quite a few needles on threads here. I might need to reset, we'll see. Because I have a lot of threads parked here sometimes. Got to be a little even more careful about watching for tangles and preventing them. But I think I find because I do 10-inch or 10 stitch wide diagonals and not 20, generally that means I reach the edge of the diagonal and can park it out of the way before it becomes an issue. Generally, but I mean, not always. Sometimes it's going to happen. Yeah, so I was correct. I have a nice little piece here. Just enough for the one stitch. Okay. Lots and lots of this color. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that one. Oh, it'll work better if I put it in market mode. That one. And then this one. Okay, then I'm going to park this here. And then it's going to kind of loop back upwards. So this one I'm gonna sort of carry over to the right, and I'm gonna start a new one and go down to the left the other way. There's so much of this color in this area, so I'm gonna need multiple threads. Ah, I said no zeroing out, but actually, woohoo, this is the very last stitch of this color. So we will get to zero out something today. One of my favorite parts of the whole process. Oh yeah, I think this was the stitch I was looking for a few sessions ago and I couldn't find it. Of course, I found it after I stopped filming. Oh dear. All right, and done. So that's another envelope that I can return to my primary set. And then one less envelope I have to search through when pulling colors. Oh, actually, let's see. Okay, yeah, I unthreaded that, but I may actually do it because of these ones here to do that one at the bottom, so we'll see. Okay. Right, so that's the one I said I was carrying back up. All right, so what I may do, we'll see if I have to reset and remove my needles or not, or if I can tease them apart. Yeah, some people prefer to just do something similar to this, but use just one needle so you don't have to worry about trying to pull them out with them still threaded, but that's more rethreading than I want to do. So That's why I leave my needles on. Oh, whoops. Yeah, my one rule, always park in the upper right. That's the one rule I never break. Okay, let's see. Yeah, once again, I'm gonna have a lot of threads of this color. And I think I may actually need to grab a whole new one. Pardon me. Okay, so now I can do that one. So that one, and then park it. And it'll be parked actually out of the diagonal, so then I'm done with it for now, till I do the next one. Okay. Those threads are next diagonal as well. Okay, so yeah, this is the one I said I'm gonna actually do this. All right, now I can park that way. I can do those three in that one without closing anything in. And then so yeah, like I've said before, my diagonals are not a perfect straight line. They're more of an approximate guide. Just whatever makes sense to me at the time. which direction I want to go for where I want to park this. Well, I didn't need to reset because I was able to finish off a bunch of threads, get those needles back, so no prob. That's usually what happens. Okay, so that's one that's going to go up. So we're gonna have to go further over to the left here and fill our way back in. Just gonna tack this down here with a single pin stitch. Yeah, as it's a shorter piece, but it's long enough to do that one stitch, so that way it won't pull loose. Because I've had that happen before, and it was a pain. The longer threads are easier to keep parked. Than the shorter ones. Okay, I think this thread is going to travel back and forth a bit because I don't want to add another one here because I have so many. I've got one down here, I've got this one, I've got another one over next to it, so 3 is kind of my limit in one area, I find. So park it back over here. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had 4 threads of one color in one area. I might have, but I don't think I usually do. Usually with 3, one of them will be close enough to do a stitch rather than starting a new one. Ooh. Ooh, pardon me. Yeah, time change, even the one where you gain an hour still messes me up. Ugh. I'm not a fan of it. I wish it was just stay the same through the whole year. Because, yeah, then find you're hungry at the wrong times and awake at the wrong times, and with the fall back, it's like the sun goes down before you're even cooking dinner, and that's just depressing. But yeah, we had a vote on it where I live, and it was really, really close. It was something like, 50.5% to, 49.5%, but they voted to keep it, so meh. I read somewhere that supposedly they got rid of it and that people actually voted to bring it back because there was more trouble, so I don't know, but ooh, careful, that turned into a knot. I don't want to tighten that up. But like every spring after the time change, there's more accidents, driving in workplace and otherwise, because people are tired and working with, tools or driving, and not a good idea to do that when you're tired, because you're more likely to make a mistake, and a mistake that when you're operating a heavy machine that could be deadly. So yeah, I'm not a fan. That one messes me up. It takes me like 4 to 6 weeks to feel normal again. So I hate that one so much. What you gonna do, right? When it came up to a vote, I went and voted, so I tried. I did my bit. Okay, so once again, reach the edge of this diagonal, be able to tuck a bunch of threads away. So, didn't end up tangled. Okay, so all of those are done until the next diagonal. Okay, yeah. Now I think I'm going to end up with adding more threads of this color. There's a ton of it. That one's short. Okay, so I can see what I'm going to do then. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start one here, carry it over. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the color on this pattern that I still have the most stitches of. This navy blue. Apart from the the center sky where it was light colors, this has been pretty much throughout the pattern. Has had this color in it somewhere. Yeah, somebody out walking their dog. That is why I don't own a dog. I don't have the dedication to walk it, especially when it's cold and snowy. Yeah, I like dogs, but they're more work than I'm willing to put in. So I just play with other people's dogs when I see them. Yeah, one of my friends, their grown daughter adopted a dog, and she's got these beautiful, like, steel blue eyes almost. Very striking. She's a darker colored dog. I'm not sure what breed she is because, yeah, like I've said before, I'm not very good on... Oh, no, that is in the wrong spot. Yeah. Good thing I made sure. I realized that the stitch I had come up next to, the parked one, was not the right color. So then I knew I'd made a mistake. So that one and that one. Because these were kind of far apart and the stitches between them are done, I threaded it through the back so that carry is tacked down and secure. So a lot of my carries, because I'm parking over and to the right, they'll get stitched over and secured that way. But yeah, if I have to do a carry that goes further the other way and has the stitches between them already done, then yeah, I'll tack it down on the back. Just make sure it's not going to go anywhere. You don't want to catch that with your iron when you're ironing it later. I've done that, and then fixing it was not fun. Yeah, this is a short one. So this one I'm going to carry down this way, and then I'm going to add another one here for that mid area. Try to avoid covering my grid lines with stitches because it makes it easier to remove them later. Although with this thread you can't pierce it with the needle, so it does slide out, but it's easier if I've got more above the stitches to pull out. Just makes it, because I could like theoretically slide the entire thing out at once, but when it's a long length I just worry that it would distort, so I like to just pull sort of, yeah, every 30 stitches or so. And I will make a video about that when I'm done. I've had people ask about removing the gridding, so it is super easy. Much easier than when I used to do it with ordinary sewing thread. You can do that, but that one, of course, you can stitch into, and sometimes you really got to pick away at it to pull it out. So yeah, this Sulky thread is really good for the being able to remove it. It's a bit of a pain to actually stitch with, because if you get a knot in it, it's like impossible to undo. And I've had that where I've stitched most of a grid line and then got a knot, and I could not remove it, and so I ended up having to cut the whole thing out and start again, which was really irritating. But I find it's better to sort of do that work up front, and then I never have to worry about it snagging later when I want to remove it. took a little practice, sort of have to carefully guide it through the fabric instead of just sort of stitching and just pulling. You have to sort of carefully guide the loose thread through so that it doesn't tangle on itself. But after a little practice, it almost never makes a knot. Okay. Okay, so I think I'll wrap up pretty soon. This hour has just flown by this morning for me. Okay, so I think I'm going to quit there. So yeah, like I said, now I'm going to add a new thread to do all that up there. So I'll actually technically have 4, then I have 1 here, and I have 1 here and 1 here, but the one at the top is only long enough for 2 stitches, so I won't have 4 for long. 3 is usually my limit, like I said. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.